Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another What's for Dinner video. I post these every single Friday, so if you like What's for Dinner videos, make sure you are subscribed and have your notifications turned on so you don't miss out. I'll be sharing 4 of the recipes that we had this week, including one that was on Travis's birthday, and that was kind of fun. It was a bacon cheeseburger grilled cheese casserole. It was very different, but he loved it. We all liked it actually, and it turned out really good. So make sure you stick around to watch that one. I think it's the 3rd one in the video, but I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you do, make sure to give it a thumbs up and comment down below. It really helps out my channel, and I appreciate you guys so much for doing so. But let's get on into the video. Tonight, Travis is going to cook out on the grill and make some pork chops, and he's going to make this marinade using some vinegar, honey, vegetable oil, salt, pepper, brown sugar, and some honey barbecue sauce. First, Travis just sprinkled some salt and pepper on it and kind of rubbed it into the pork chops a little bit. Then we added 1/4 a cup of honey, a little over 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and then 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon of the brown sugar, and then he just put a little bit of the honey barbecue sauce in there because then we're going to rub some on top of the pork chops while they're on the grill, and just stir all that up together and then put it in a Ziploc bag in the fridge for a little bit to sit. So tonight we're also going to have some deviled eggs and green beans with our meal as well. And like I said in the last video, I made some deviled eggs from Kim's Farmhouse Life, and my husband loved them and wanted me to go ahead and make them again this week. So I'm just using these hard-boiled eggs that you can buy at Walmart. It's my cheat way of doing it. Last week I made them the normal way, like boiling them on the stove, but I'm just going to do it this way this time. And so I'm just going to whip those up really fast. So I won't make you guys watch the whole thing again of me mixing this all together, but if you want to know how I made it, I will leave the recipe for it in the description box below. Since that one side's already done, we're just going to put some more barbecue sauce on the top and let them finish cooking. Like I said, I was making some green beans, and I usually just season it with some butter, salt, and pepper, but on mine I like to add a little bit of this Italian seasoning mix. But Travis doesn't like it, so I just put it on mine individually after they're done cooking, and it is so good. So here it is plated, and these pork chops smell so good, and they look good. Look at that. Travis did a good job on them. I'm excited to taste them, and I will let you guys know how it tastes. So how do they taste?
Excellent.
Grant, what about your hot dog?
I didn't try it.
Oh. What about your green beans?
Yeah.
Yeah. Daddy made you a hot dog, didn't he? Big and strong.
Bah!
You got it? Do you like pork chops?
Yeah.
Is it good? Yeah. So I think that the flavor is really good, but I'm used to having thinner pork chops. I know that's probably weird, but overall they're really good. So tonight we're going to be making some chicken with this everything bagel seasoning. I got this kind of Aldi, but I'm not making that yet because I'm also making some pasta salad, and it's earlier in the day. So I'm going to make a ranch pasta salad and make my own ranch dressing, but then I'm also going to put in some tomatoes, celery, cucumber, red onion, and Parmesan cheese as well. So it's earlier in the day, like I said, so I'm gonna go ahead and make the pasta salad and have it sitting in the fridge, and then later when it's supper time, I'll go ahead and make the chicken. just about 3 cups of veggies. You can add more or less, and obviously you can add other kinds of veggies, broccoli, carrots, olives, anything you want really to pasta salad. That's one of those dishes that you can really make it your own and experiment with. And then you'll also need about half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Then you just want to rinse your pasta with cold water to cool it down some. Then you're just going to mix your cold noodles, all of the veggies, and the cheese together, and then add 1 1/4 a cup of ranch dressing or more depending on the taste. We'll just see how much I need. This makes quite a bit. This would be good for like leftovers, for lunch, or even supper again. I think this would be good for lunch though. And here it is. You can add more ranch if you want, more veggies, different kinds. Just make it your own. Green peppers I think would be good in here. I just didn't think of it. And then we're also making, like I said earlier, the chicken with the everything bagel seasoning. And so you'll need chicken tenderloins, the everything bagel seasoning, or the kind that you get at Trader Joe's, I believe it is, an egg mixed with some water to dip it in, some plain breadcrumbs, and then some salt and pepper. And then also I'm going to be making a dipping sauce that I saw, and I'll leave the recipe down below. But it takes some syrup, Dijon mustard, salt and pepper, and some sriracha sauce. So I'm excited to try this. I think it's going to be really yummy. Hopefully it won't let me down. I love this stuff on like everything. It is so good. And everything bagels are my favorite too. So we'll see how it turns out. And then you'll just dip it in this and get it coated really good, and then coat it again in the breadcrumb mixture. I thought I was filming and I wasn't, but I just did half a cup of the breadcrumbs and then 2 tablespoons of the everything seasoning, and then salt and pepper to taste, and mix it up together. So I've already got the oven preheated to 400, and I'm just gonna start dipping my chicken. Then you just want to cook it for 12 to 15 minutes or until it reaches its temp. So while the chicken is cooking, I'm just going to mix up this sauce really quick. It's 1/4 a cup of Dijon mustard, 2 tablespoons of syrup. It would probably be better if it was actual maple syrup, but this is what we have, so that's what I'm using. And then half a teaspoon of sriracha sauce and some salt and pepper to taste. I'm a little skeptical if this sauce is going to taste good. I'm not usually a fan of Dijon mustard, but we shall see. I'm definitely going to try it, at least, but I don't know. Maybe this will make it sweeter. Then you just whisk it all together and it's ready. Here it is plated, and that chicken actually ended up taking every bit of that 15 minutes plus some. I think it ended up taking like at least 17 or 18 minutes before it was to temperature, but it turned out so good. I'm excited to try it. I need to put a little bit of dressing on my plate, but then it's ready to eat, and I'll let you guys know how it tastes because I'm super excited to try it. So the chicken is really good. We've all really liked it. Well, actually Grant hasn't tried it yet, but. And then the sauce, not so much. One little drop burnt Travis's tongue, but I can handle the spice, but I just don't really like the taste. So I'm gonna be using some honey mustard with it, but the chicken is so good. Okay, so tonight we're trying something pretty different. I found this recipe on Pinterest and it's Travis's birthday tonight, so we thought this would be fun to make. Bacon cheeseburger grilled cheese casserole, I believe is what it's called. I'll leave the link for it in the description box below. But I've got, I don't know if you saw my last grocery haul, but I've got my squished pieces of bread. It takes at least 8 slices. I've got 4 already in the casserole pan. And then this bacon I'm going to cut up into little pieces, and a pound of ground beef. And then this mixture is 1/4 a cup of mayo, 1/4 a cup of ketchup, and then 1 tablespoon of mustard, 2 teaspoons of onion powder. It calls for 4 cups of cheese, cheddar and mozzarella mixed, but I didn't have any mozzarella and I didn't even have a total of 4 cups. So it's about like 3 cups, I think, but we're just gonna roll with it. A cup of diced onions, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and then, oh no, and then some margarine. When we went to the store last time, they were all out of all of the kinds of butter. So this is what we ended up with, but you're just using it to spread on your pieces of bread anyway, so it's okay. And the recipe didn't call for it, but I think I'm also going to sprinkle the buttered bread with some garlic salt just to give it a little bit of extra flavor. But I've already got my oven preheated to 400, and I'm just going to start browning the meat, and we'll go from there. So while that's going, I'm just over here making a mess as usual and chopping up these onions. I'm gonna go ahead and butter the bread as well and get that put in the pan. Then you want to cut all of your slices of bread in half, like that. So for putting them in the pan, I'm just going to put the buttered side down, like that. I'm actually going to use the smaller pan because we only had 8 slices of bread left. And it calls for more than that, and so they weren't really fitting right, so I'm just going to stick them in here instead. Hate that because I'm going to have to clean 2 pans now, but it'll work out better, I think. Now that the meat is pretty much done, I'm going to go ahead and add in all of the onions. And this is actually pretty lean ground beef, so there's not like a lot of extra grease, but if there was, you would want to drain out the extra grease before you put in your onions. But since mine wasn't, I just went ahead and added those. And then I'm just going to cook those for a few more minutes and then take it off of the heat and add the ketchup, mustard, mayo mixture and the seasonings and the crumbled up bacon. Okay, it's been a few minutes and I'm just going to take it off of the heat and add in my ketchup and mustard, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, 2 teaspoons of onion powder. Then I'm also just going to break up this bacon as I go because there's not a pretty way to do that. I'm just going to stir it all together really good. So now that that's all mixed up, you want to sprinkle half of your cheese mixture on the bread and then save half to put on top of the actual hamburger mixture. Then you just want to layer on your cheeseburger mixture and then spread it with some more cheese. Now to add the rest of the bread. This is some sad looking bread. Just gonna put it on there randomly. And you want to put the bread butter side up. Had to move that because it bothered me that it wasn't going the right direction. Same with this one. Then you just want to put it in the oven until everything's like golden brown and the bread gets toasted. That was going so fast, I didn't have time to clean as I went. I've got quite the mess to clean up now. Does anybody else a messy cooker? Like Travis is so clean when he cooks and like makes sure that everything is put up and all that, but I just make such a mess when I cook. It's terrible. Not that it matters, but here's proof that I did clean up while that is cooking. It's actually still in the oven, but now it's all clean again. Not to say that there's not a ton of dishes sitting in the sink right now that we've been ignoring, but we'll get to those. And here it is. It looks yummy. What do you think? You like it?
It's really
Yay!
good. Mommy did good.
So on this night we were having a baked potato pizza, and I don't know if you guys have a Pizza Inn where you guys are from, but we absolutely love their pizzas and we wanted to try to recreate it at home. So I've got my 2 pizza doughs that I make like a big batch that made 4 separate pizzas, and we've got 2 left over that we've been keeping in the fridge. But if you want to make this recipe easier, you could use the store-bought kind of pizza dough, or you know, your own ranch dressing instead of the ranch dressing mix like I had. And we also used real potatoes, but you could probably even use the frozen ones, but we're just using what we had. So I've got my 2 pizza doughs. I'm gonna crumble up this bacon after I cook it. It's just the ready to eat bacon that you cook in the microwave to make some bacon bits. And then we ended up using 6 potatoes just diced after they're cooked, and all of these ingredients that I'm showing right here will actually be doubled because this is just showing what you would use for one of the pizzas. So I had 1.5 cups of mozzarella cheese and 1/2 cup of cheddar cheese per pizza, and then 1/2 cup of sour cream, and 2 tablespoons of melted butter, 1 tablespoon per pizza, and then 1/2 cup of the ranch dressing, like after it's actually made, per pizza. And then just disregard the oil and the water that I had. That was for if you're using store-bought dough that you would have to use that for. But I'll leave the actual recipe that I was following down in the description box below. But then you'll need some Italian seasoning, garlic powder, and some green onions as well. The first thing I did was make the ranch dressing and put it in the refrigerator to chill until we needed it, and then chopped up my green onions. For the potatoes, you just want to cut them in diced size little pieces. That's why I was saying that the frozen potatoes would probably work pretty well too. And then we just filled it up with water and put them on the stove to cook until they were a little bit tender. So for the sauce base of this pizza, for each pizza you'll want 1/2 cup of the ranch dressing and 1/2 cup of sour cream. But looking back, we both said that we probably would have put less sour cream in it because it just made it a little bit too thick. So keep that in mind. Then you just want to mix the ranch dressing and the sour cream together really well with a whisk. So we're just using that microwavable bacon again tonight, and I wasn't sure if this was going to work. I decided to try putting the bacon in my Ninja chopper, and it actually chopped up really well. Like, it was perfect size bacon bits. After that, we just went ahead and preheated the oven to 450 while we rolled out our pizza dough. And then once you roll it out, you want to actually put the 2 pizza doughs, or how many of you you're making, into the oven first before putting any toppings on for just a few minutes. While those were in the oven, we just mixed the potatoes with 2 tablespoons of melted butter, 1/2 teaspoon of the garlic powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of the Italian seasoning. Then we just spread out all of the dressing. Actually, I don't even think we used the full cup. but we just split it between the 2 pizzas and spread it out really good. And then you add your potato mixture, then the green onions and bacon bits, and then the cheese on top. We started out putting them in the oven for 8 minutes just to see how that would turn out, and they actually ended up turning out perfect at that temperature. And here they are straight out of the oven. They tasted so good, like the equivalent to Pizza Inn, if not better. But like I said, we would probably put a little less of the sour cream on it, or maybe even that mixture in general, because it was pretty heavy on the dressing. But overall, it was so good. And thank y'all so much for watching the dinners this week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.